23 Things They Don't Tell About Capitalism by He Jun Chang. The main message of the book is this: the capitalism most widely practiced today is an ideological free market. Compared to the more post-Keynesian capitalism of the 1950-1970s, it's a failure. The truth is, many countries put themselves on the road to economic independence through what free market economics such as Milton Friedman would call socialism, protecting industry, limiting foreign direct investments, running state-owned enterprises, and so on. In reality, it is central banks, which are political creation, that determine interest rates. If wages, interest rates, and by extension prices are all shaped by political factors, the idea that we live in a free market economy is therefore a fiction. So here is the myth of the post-industrial age. In our knowledge-based society, so current thinking goes, manufacturing does not matter as much as it did. If they want to do well, developing countries should leapfrog manufacturing and go straight to a service-based economy. India, for instance, should forget manufacturing and become the office of the world, in the way China has become the factory of the world. According to the author, education is not the answer. Richer countries have more educated people. But does that mean their wealth is because of their higher level of education? There is surprisingly little evidence of the link, even in today's knowledge economy. Education was not the key to the East Asian economy miracle. Chang says Taiwan developed much faster than Philippines, for instance, while having lower rate of literacy, and rich Switzerland has the lowest rate among rich countries of school leavers going on to the university. The reality is that lots of education has no use in the real world, and even apparently practical subjects such as physics and maths are not used for more. Yet if there are few existing companies, laws and institutions to support this, an economy will find it hard to grow. Rather, it is command over technical, organizational and institutional knowledge. Chang observed that makes a country rich and developed, and whether its people are organized into highly productive enterprises, whether giant ones like Boeing in America or Volkswagen in Germany, or the smaller exporting business of Switzerland and Italy. Chang claims his book is not an anti-capitalist manifesto. He is a believer in the power of the profit motive and sees market as an exceptionally effective machine in achieving social and economic goal. Yet ideological free market capitalization is just one form of capitalism, and the evidence from the last 30 years is that it hinders growth, increases inequality, and produces more frequent financial crashes. To correct the damage that free market orthodoxy has done, one of Chang's conclusion is that the government needs to become bigger and more active.